We live in a world that never stops moving. From the moment we open our eyes each morning, we're bombarded by endless tasks and distractions that keep us from truly seeing. Yet beneath the surface of every moment lies a single, undeniable truth. We will all die. And though we often push that truth aside, it was at the heart of the ancient Stoic practice known as Memento Mori. Remember that you must die. Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's great emperors and a devoted Stoic, wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." His words are a stark reminder. Death is never far away. But rather than filling him with dread, this thought focused his mind on what truly mattered. Close your eyes and picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast ocean. Each wave that crashes on the shore is a moment of your life, fleeting, beautiful, and forever lost to the sea behind you. The Stoics believed that when we accept the finite nature of these waves, we learn to appreciate the unique gift of each one. Seneca put it simply, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's account every day." He urges us not to wait for some distant day to begin living meaningfully, but to live each moment as if it were already a precious memory. But why do we find it so hard to truly confront our own mortality? In a world of constant noise, endless news feeds, social media updates, and the pressure to always be doing more, death is a quiet truth we'd rather ignore. We act as if time stretches out endlessly, like a road with no horizon. Yet even as we rush forward, the hours of our lives slip away like grains of sand in an hourglass. The Stoics knew that ignoring death doesn't prolong life. It only robs us of its meaning. Epictetus spoke of this with characteristic simplicity. "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." In his words, we find a doorway to freedom, a way to transform our relationship with death itself. Pause for a moment. Feel the weight of your own heart beating in your chest. Let this be a contemplative pause, a breath of stillness. Ask yourself, if today were your last, would you be proud of how you've lived it? Would you hold anything back, or would you embrace each breath as a final gift? This is not a morbid thought. It's a call to clarity. To live each day as if it were your last does not mean living in reckless abandon. It means cherishing what is real and discarding what is trivial. It means seeing clearly what truly matters. In the chapters to come, we will explore how this ancient practice can reshape the way you see your life. We will see how the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus can become a compass, guiding you to live with purpose, depth, and authenticity. We will uncover how Memento Mori can strip away the noise and reveal the shimmering core of what it means to be alive. So let us begin this journey together. Let us not be afraid of the truth, but instead, let us stand with open eyes and an open heart. Let us remember that death is not an end, but a teacher. And let us find in that teacher the courage to live fully and completely. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is still, there's a particular kind of clarity. This is the perfect moment to sit with the thoughts we usually push away, thoughts of our own mortality. The Stoics called this premeditatio mortis, the premeditation of death. And far from being an exercise in gloom, it was seen as a profound tool for awakening. The process is simple but deeply challenging. To hold the image of your own death in your mind, to imagine your life as a story with a definite end, it is to see yourself as a flickering candle, bright and warm for a brief time, and to understand that each breath you take is a precious loan, not a guarantee. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. In these words, he calls us to recognize that we cannot change the past, and we cannot hold on to the future. We have only the present moment, this sliver of time that flickers before us. But how do we do this in a practical way? It begins with a pause. You might find a quiet corner of your home or a park bench in the early morning. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Imagine that today is the last page of your story. Visualize what you would do, what you would say, how you would see the world if you knew there would be no tomorrow. It's not about dwelling on death with fear or sadness. It's about using that awareness to strip away the inessential. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This meditation brings that truth into sharp focus. Suddenly, the petty worries, the grudges, the endless to-do lists, they all fade before the question, what would I do if today were my last? As you sit with these thoughts, let them seep into your bones. Let them remind you that every conversation, every gesture of kindness, every small act of courage is magnified when you remember that time is finite. It is in this remembering that life itself becomes more vivid, more precious. Epictetus taught that death is nothing terrible, but the opinion about death is terrible. He believed that our fear of death comes not from the fact itself, but from how we frame it in our minds. When we see death as a natural part of life, an inevitable return to the earth and the cosmos, it loses its power to terrify. This meditation is not about being morbid or dramatic. It is about shifting your perspective from endless planning and striving to a deep appreciation for what you have right now. It's about turning the mundane into the miraculous, seeing the everyday with fresh eyes. Pause again and ask yourself, if this were my last sunrise, how would I greet it? If this were my last meal, would I taste it more deeply? If this were my last conversation, would I speak with more love, more honesty? In this practice, you will find a new kind of courage, a quiet, steadfast resolve to live each day as a complete and final chapter. You will discover that death is not the enemy of life, but its constant companion, whispering in your ear, "Do not waste this day. Do not sleepwalk through these hours. Live." As we continue this journey, we will explore the unexpected ways that Memento Mori can shape not only how we think, but how we act, how it can transform our relationships, our work, and even our sense of meaning itself. Let this be your compass. Each breath is a gift, each heartbeat a fragile miracle. Let the knowledge of your mortality be a reminder to live with open eyes, open hands, and an open heart. Throughout history, death has been the one teacher no one can avoid. It is the final exam that every living thing must face, and in that inevitability lies its most profound lesson. Life is fleeting, and because of that, it is precious. The Stoics believed that death was not an end to be feared, but a mirror that reflects back to us the true nature of living. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." His words urge us to cast aside hesitation, to stop waiting for the right moment that may never come. Imagine for a moment your life as a fragile vase. Each breath is a delicate brushstroke, each act of kindness a new crackle in the glaze. One day the vase will shatter. It is only a question of when. This is not a reason to despair, but a call to fill that vessel with as much beauty and meaning as you can. Seneca observed, "Life is long if you know how to use it." The meditation on death strips away all illusions of endless tomorrows, revealing how much of life is wasted in waiting for circumstances to be perfect, for dreams to line up like dominoes, for the courage to act. But death teaches us that the time is now. The future is a mirage, a promise that may never arrive. All that is real is this fleeting moment. Epictetus, in his gentle wisdom, reminded his students, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, let the knowledge of your mortality transform how you live today. Let it infuse your decisions, your words, your small acts of kindness. Do not merely think about death. Let it guide you to become more fully alive. This practice is not an excuse for hedonism or fatalism. It is a reminder that every choice has weight, because every moment is finite. When you remember that your time is limited, you choose to spend it on what matters. You let go of trivial worries, toxic relationships, and endless busyness. You begin to prioritize connection over consumption, presence over distraction. Pause here. Let the thought sink in. What if death were not a shadow that follows you, but a lantern that lights your path. Let it show you the brilliance of the sunrise, the sweetness of a single breath, the warmth of a fleeting smile. Let it teach you to see life not as a burden, but as a privilege. The Stoics understood that death's inevitability grants life its meaning. Like a painter working on a canvas, each stroke matters precisely because the canvas is not infinite. Each color is chosen carefully because there is no going back. In this way, Memento Mori becomes not a source of dread, but a source of reverence, a daily call to cherish the small things and honor the big ones. As we move forward, we will uncover how the practice of remembering death can transform not only our personal lives but the world around us, how it can deepen our relationships, fuel our ambitions with purpose, and free us from the chains of fear. Let this chapter settle in your mind like a stone in a river, solid, steady, unmovable. Let it remind you, death is the teacher that brings life into focus. And if we are brave enough to listen, it will show us how to live with a heart wide open. It's one thing to meditate on death in the quiet hours of dawn, to feel the weight of your own impermanence in the stillness of your mind. But the real power of Memento Mori emerges when we weave this awareness into the fabric of our everyday lives. The Stoics were not content to leave philosophy on the page or in the mind. Their wisdom was meant to be lived, to be tested in the marketplace, in the family home, in the heat of conflict. Seneca reminds us, philosophy calls for plain living but not for penance. It is not a matter of taking away time but of using it well. The same applies to our daily remembrance of death. It is not about dwelling in morbid thoughts but about learning how to live more fully. Consider your daily routine, your morning coffee, your commute, your work, your conversations. Imagine each of these moments as if they might be your last, not in a melodramatic sense but as a gentle invitation to be more present, to taste the warmth of the coffee, to feel the sun on your skin, to really listen to the voice of a loved one without the static of distraction. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Let this be your challenge, to live with intention, to let the awareness of your mortality burn away the trivial and leave only the essential. In practical terms, this might mean choosing to speak a kind word instead of a harsh one, or taking the time to savor a meal rather than rushing through it. It might mean pausing to appreciate a small moment of beauty, a child's laughter, a bird's flight, a shaft of light in the morning mist. These are the small blessings that make up a life, and they are often overlooked when we assume we have endless tomorrows. Ask yourself throughout the day, what if this were the last time I did this? Let that question focus your attention like a lens. It is a practice that requires no elaborate ritual, no special setting. It is as close as your next breath. Epictetus encouraged us to see each event as an opportunity to practice our philosophy. Difficulties are things that show a person what they are, he wrote. In this way, remembering death helps us meet each challenge with perspective. If you knew your time was short, would you let a small insult fester in your heart? Would you let a missed opportunity define your worth? Or would you release these burdens, knowing they have no power over the truth of who you are? Memento Mori transforms how we work too. It strips away the ego that clings to titles and achievements, leaving behind a clearer purpose: to serve, to contribute, to create something of lasting value. You begin to see your work not as a means to an end, but as an offering, your final strokes on the canvas of your life. This chapter of daily practice is about weaving death's quiet whisper into each action, each word, each decision. It's about finding beauty in the impermanent and meaning in the fleeting. The Stoics did not ask us to be solemn or grim, but to be awake, fully awake to the miracle of this brief existence. So let the thought of your mortality become a silent companion in your daily life. Let it nudge you back to presence when your mind wanders. Let it soften your words when you might be harsh. Let it remind you that every small kindness echoes beyond this lifetime. In the next chapter, We will explore how Memento Mori can reshape your relationships, offering not just a richer inner life, but deeper connections with those around you. Let this practice be your anchor and your wings, steadying you in the storm, lifting you to see the beauty in each passing hour. In the glow of mortality's quiet flame, our relationships take on a new light. When we truly understand that every meeting is finite, every embrace fragile, we become more present, more tender, more fiercely committed to cherishing those we love. Seneca, in a letter to his friend Lucilius, wrote, "Let us cherish and love those with whom we live, as if we should lose them tomorrow." This is not a call to cling or to suffocate, but to honor the preciousness of each human connection, to see those around us not as permanent fixtures, but as fellow travelers sharing a brief and miraculous journey. Pause for a moment. Think of someone you love. Picture their face, their smile, the sound of their laughter. Now imagine that today is the last day you will ever see them. How would you speak to them? What words would you choose? What small resentments or petty grievances would you release? Memento Mori teaches us to live this way, not out of fear, but out of reverence. The Stoics saw death not as an end, but as the great equalizer, the quiet force that makes every interaction more sacred. Marcus Aurelius observed, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This awareness softens the edges of our interactions. It reminds us that anger and pride are heavy burdens to carry in the brief flicker of a life. It nudges us to forgive more easily, to listen more deeply, to hold space for others' flaws and frailties. Relationships become not just a comfort, but a practice, a daily exercise in humility and compassion. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In the shadow of death, these words take on new weight. Each conversation becomes a chance to truly hear the other person, to be fully present, to lay aside our need to be right or admired. The Stoics understood that love, true, deep love, is an act of courage. To open your heart to another is to accept that one day you will have to say goodbye. It is to embrace the sweet ache of impermanence, to hold someone close knowing that nothing lasts forever. Yet this very fragility is what makes love so luminous. Like a candle flickering in the darkness, it shines brighter for its fleetingness. When we remember death, we become more willing to risk that vulnerability, more eager to offer warmth and kindness while there is still time. This chapter, then, is a call to cherish the people in your life, to see them not as permanent pillars, but as passing wonders, each encounter a gift, each moment a fleeting chance to give and receive love. Let death's gentle whisper remind you, the most lasting thing we leave behind is the love we share. In the next chapter, we will explore how this practice of Memento Mori fuels not only our relationships, but our ambitions and our sense of purpose. Let this chapter settle into your heart like a seed, quiet but full of promise. Let it grow into a resolve to love fiercely and live deeply every single day. The practice of Memento Mori is not meant to lead us into despair or nihilism. It is meant to awaken us to our purpose. To stand before the mystery of death is to see how precious, how fleeting, how urgent this life truly is. Seneca wrote, "While we wait for life, life passes." These words, simple yet profound, remind us that every moment spent in hesitation or half-hearted living is a moment lost forever. If death is always near, then the only wise choice is to live each day as if it were a deliberate step toward what matters most. But what does purpose look like in the shadow of death? It is not always grand or world-changing. Purpose is the quiet conviction that what you do matters, that your days are threads in a greater tapestry of meaning. It is not about accolades or recognition. It is about aligning your life with what you truly value. Marcus Aurelius urged us to concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice. This is purpose in action, doing your work, loving your people, living your values, even when no one is watching. In this light, Memento Mori becomes a source of clarity. When you remember that death could come at any moment, you no longer waste time on trivial pursuits or empty distractions. You no longer measure your worth by fleeting successes or the opinions of others. You measure it by how fully you have lived your values. Imagine waking each morning with this thought. If today were my last, would I be proud of how I spend it? This question is not meant to paralyze you, but to focus you, to burn away the fog of indecision and reveal the path that is most true. The Stoics taught that our purpose is found not in what we accumulate, but in how we serve. Epictetus reminds us, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Live your beliefs. Let your life be your argument, your testament to what you hold dear. Consider the small acts of purpose that shape a life. The kindness you show to a stranger, the patience you offer to a child, the courage to speak the truth when it is hard. These moments may seem small, but in the shadow of death, they are luminous. They are the threads that weave the tapestry of a life well lived. Memento Mori also frees us from the fear of failure. When you know your time is limited, you no longer cling so tightly to the illusion of perfection. You dare to act, to try, to create, because you know that even your failures are part of the story. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Let these words be a call to action. Let them rouse you from complacency and set your heart ablaze with the urgency of living. Let the awareness of death become a beacon that guides you back to your purpose whenever you are lost. In the next chapter, we will explore how Memento Mori can help us face challenges and adversity with stoic courage. Let this chapter be your invitation to embrace each day as if it were a final chance to live fully, love deeply, and serve something greater than yourself. When adversity strikes, it is easy to forget the bigger picture. Pain, fear, and uncertainty can cloud our vision, shrinking our world to a narrow tunnel of worry. Yet Memento Mori is the quiet reminder that even our struggles are part of a larger, fleeting story. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In the presence of death, we see that our reactions, the way we carry our burdens, the dignity with which we face trials, are what give our lives their meaning and color. Consider the storms that have tested you. Loss, heartbreak, illness, disappointment, each a chapter in your life's story. Memento Mori does not diminish the pain of these moments. Instead, it frames them within the brief span of your existence. It asks, if this is the only life I have, how will I meet this trial? In the face of adversity, remembering death can be a source of courage. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 1,000 years to live. Fate is at your elbow. Make yourself good while life and power are still yours." This is not a denial of pain, but a refusal to let it consume you. It is the resolve to stand tall even as the world tilts beneath your feet. Imagine your challenges as a mountain. You can either see it as an obstacle blocking your path or as a summit to climb, each step a chance to grow stronger. Memento Mori teaches us to see adversity as part of the grand adventure of being human. Every trial, no matter how dark, is a chance to practice courage, to embody the virtues the Stoics held dear: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Let's pause for a moment. Think of a challenge you are facing right now. How does it feel in your chest? What fears does it stir? Now bring to mind the brevity of life. One day this challenge too will pass. One day you will be gone, and so will all the weight of this moment. In that light, how does this adversity change? How might you face it differently? The Stoics believed that true strength lies not in resisting fate, but in accepting it with grace. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. In this friction we are shaped, refined, and tested. We are given the chance to become the kind of person we most admire: resilient, compassionate, and wise." Memento Mori also teaches us to find peace within adversity. When we remember that death is always near, we can release the need for everything to be perfect. We can find solace in knowing that even the hardest moments are temporary, and that what matters is how we meet them. In the next and final chapter, we will bring all these threads together, exploring how Memento Mori is not a morbid fixation, but a clarion call to live fully and love deeply. Let this chapter fortify your heart, giving you the courage to meet every challenge with quiet strength and unwavering purpose. As we arrive at the final chapter of this journey, let us pause and reflect on the central paradox of Memento Mori, that in remembering death, we discover how to truly live. Throughout history, the Stoics saw death not as an end, but as a constant companion, a gentle reminder to cherish what is here and now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." These words echo through time, calling us back to the present, to the raw immediacy of life. Imagine your days as grains of sand slipping through an hourglass. Each one is precious because it is finite. Each one demands your attention, your gratitude, your full presence. In this awareness, life itself becomes a sacred act. Memento Mori is not an invitation to despair. It is a call to embrace the miracle of existence. It is the realization that every breath is a gift, every sunrise a fleeting wonder, every moment an unrepeatable chance to be here, fully and completely. Think of the people you love, the laughter you share, the quiet conversations, the gentle touch of a hand. Memento Mori urges you to hold these moments close, to see them not as ordinary but as the very heart of what it means to be alive. In the face of death, love becomes an act of rebellion, a refusal to let the shadow of the grave steal the warmth of your connections. The Stoics taught us to live according to nature, to align our hearts with what is true and enduring. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day." This is the daily practice of Memento Mori, to live with nothing held back, to leave no words of I love unspoken, to chase no dreams that do not matter. In this final chapter, let us bring it all together. Let us see that in remembering death, we are freed from the petty worries that once consumed us. We are released from the illusions of control and permanence. We are awakened to the fierce beauty of this fragile life. Picture yourself at the end of your days. What stories will you tell? What regrets will you carry? What love will you have shared? Memento Mori asks you to live today so that when that final breath comes, you can meet it with peace, knowing that you have lived not out of habit or fear, but out of love and purpose. So let this meditation on death become a meditation on life. Let the words of the Stoics be your guiding star, their wisdom an anchor in the swirling tides of existence. Let each day be your chance to begin again, to choose what matters most, and to live as if your time were precious. Because it is. As this narrative comes to a close, remember this: Memento Mori is not about death. It is about life. It is about living so fully, so bravely, and so deeply that even death itself becomes just another chapter in your story.